Yo, is this a freaking JRPG, bro? What is this mode that they just delivered to us here? This is absolutely bonkers. It makes you want to just, maybe hop into the movies, sit down, watch a movie with me, and I'll bring the popcorn and we can tickle each other's toes. This new mode brings a unique, rich, story-rich experience that kind of feels reminiscent of like an old JRPG or something of the sort that really kind of gets you going here. And honestly speaking, I'm kind of digging it. So the whole thing here with dreaming deep here, as you can see right here, is this event right here. So this event right here is just came into the game, and it's a permanent event, as you can see here at the top of the screen. And so that's, I really like how they keep putting these events and making them permanent, kind of like the fishing. That was an event technically, but it was a permanent one. And this one is a very neat event for them to have added in here. And so I just kind of want to just really express how much Kuro Games has continued to make these modes and be very unique about how they present them and how they implement them. Like, honestly, this is a very fun mode, but at the same time a laid back mode, and it feels reminiscent of like an old JRPG or something like that, just a real simple, like the old JRPGs where you're like, it's like a board map and you're moving across. It just really captures this whole thing. And then there's a whole story that's within each little thing. There's different stories for each film that you go into. So it's a theater, there's different films that you go into, and it just really is something that's really unique. So I wanted to kind of discuss this real quick, so that way everyone can feel the excitement that I feel for this excitement as we ramp up for our big, couple months or a week or a month or whatever, couple weeks or month or moving whatever that we have, that we're going to be releasing guides, and that we're going to be having Carthethia come out with a whole new map and all these other things that are ahead of us within Wuthering Waves. So I'm going to dive into this. But first, be sure to like, subscribe. It helps out tremendously. Thank you very much. So this new mode can be found over here at this little portion of the map. Of course, you can teleport to it because it will have a little icon to it for you. But you go over here and there will be some 2 NPCs here, and then you'll talk to them and you'll enter into this door right here for the Dreaming Deep. Now, the cool thing about this is that there's a multitude of different films in here. As you see, there's watch films and all this stuff. So pretty much you enter this thing and you see this girl who's over there, and there's like this whole premise as you walk into the theater, right? So you're walking into the theater and you see this person, and then next thing you know, this happens, and now you're kind of like transferred into this world. It's a film, so I'm not trying not to like spoil it too heavily for you, but you'll see it whenever you go to it. But let's just kind of go over it real quick. There's a whole multitude of things that you have here within this. So such as the watch films, if you go to this, you'll notice that there's a whole film room here on the left, and they're all different ones. The cool thing about this is that it tells you right here, duration 30 minutes. So it gives you an idea of how long it will take to do this. Now, that being said, of course, this is going to vary because it took me about 2 hours to do this. But that's because I was streaming it, and of course, I'm giving the in-depth, real, spectacular, that wasn't even a word, spectacular experience where I'm reading it and I'm voicing it, I'm changing my voice for the mode, so I'm getting really immersive with it, as I like to do whenever I do stream these types of things. We like to read these things, whereas some people will just click, and actually read these things and go over it, but it's actually pretty entertaining if you do read these things. Now, if you go into this mode here, each of them is going to have a different one, and they'll unlock after you keep doing them. So they'll also have different endings here. As you see, this one has 1 ending, and you see this one over here has 2 endings and 3 endings, and so forth. So when you go into this world, you will be placed on a freaking board. And initially, you'll see here that this one is uncovered, but initially there'll be like clouds like this. So it'll be completely covered up. And you will have different icons on the map, as you can see here, which is pretty neat. So each icon is going to represent something different. So this one's like a combat. This one is just like these little dream fragments that you get here. And each one has something different. These metaphors. There's these ones here. There's like these big boss battles. And so you'll go across the map and you'll uncover this. Remember, all this is covered in clouds initially when you walk in here. But the goal is kind of just go through here. You don't have to 100% it. That's also why it took me so long to do it, is because I'm naturally someone who 100% stuff. I tend to like to do that. Whenever I play RPGs, I'm the type of person who I start the game and then I immediately turn around and go the opposite way to where I'm supposed to be going for the main story. And I just keep going everywhere else and like uncovering every single rock. That's me. So 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 naturally the same thing happened here. So then you have a whole bunch of different nodes here on this board that will have a different effects that you have. You have these campfires, which are obviously resting spots that will heal you, but it's a pretty neat little experience as you go through here. And some of these will advance the story as well, and then some of them will give you boosts to your characters. So the whole thing here with the boost to the characters that you will see is that there's a whole system here that's interwoven where you have, if you have certain characters within certain groups, so you have this bond right here, and you see this characters listed over here. So if you have 3 of these characters that you're using, you will trigger these bond effects that you have. So all these are loaded with different bond effects, and what this does is it creates a mode where you are playing these characters in completely new ways. So I'll put some footage up on the screen here of when we were doing it from the VOD, and you will see kind of how these characters are playing differently. So this character right here, obviously, you know, she's someone who, you know, uses guns, but you don't normally see her playing in the way that you see her playing here. And this is because this whole thing, considering with the enhancements on the bond members, and you can enhance each character's abilities, they allow them to be played in a completely different manner than you otherwise would normally be able to play them in, which is super freaking neat. It really adds to a new experience for the game, and I think it's very neat that they implemented this, and it's permanent as well. You know, it's not something you have to just race to do, and at that, it's not something that you can really just do or willy-nilly quick in the first place, because it's going to take some time to do it, and they want it to be like that. And I think it's more enjoyable like that, so that way you can really just dive in at your own leisure, and, you know, go at your own pace, and then really just go through these stories. And each story has a different ending as well. Let's go get some popcorn, get a drink or whatnot. Let's go back to the main lobby and get some popcorn. And so you'll go through this story here, and then you'll reach the end of it, and there will be a big climax. So like in the first one, you'll see that there's this whole big fight where you fight multiple different bosses. And remember, this whole bond system has it so that you have a 4th option. So, you know, like you have 3 characters, and you have a 4th option. And this will be whenever you get energy that charges up, and you're able to go into this super duper mode. You're able to turn freaking Super Saiyan Blue, or, you know, Ultra, or Ultra Instinct, or whatever you want to call it. You're able to go into this mode, and then you are able to just unleash some barrage on these enemies. But the coolest thing is not necessarily that, it's more so how these characters end up having their gameplay change throughout this whole thing. But the story will continue depending on which one you're doing. Each one has a different story with a different protagonist that's going on. As you see, it's produced by different studios here. This one's produced by Dream Pictures. This one just by Soul 3 Picture Studios. So you're really in depth with this. But each individual experience is going to be unique to itself. And like I said, just highlight this again. They tell you the duration here is 60 minutes, so it gives you an idea of how long it's going to take you to do it. Now, like I said, this one said 30 minutes, but it took me 2 hours to do it because I'm a kind of completionist, and I was doing it on stream, which means I'm reading it and I'm really, you know, captivating the moment and really diving into the energy within this. But as you can see in the gameplay here, it's a very exciting and a very fun mode to have put into the game. I think Kuro Games was very neat to do this and make it permanent, so we don't feel like you're rushed to do this. Because if this event was something that was like, okay, you're stuck on a time limit now because it's just for the anniversary, it wouldn't feel as good because there is a lot of dialogue in it. And so because there's a lot of dialogue in it, you might, you know, if you were on a time limit, then you might feel like, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. But that being said, I believe there are some rewards for doing this within the time period, I think, remaining. So yeah, there's like, but it's 69 days. So as you can see up here, you see up there 69 days. So you have plenty of time to get through all this. And you see there's some goodies here, some rewards from doing all this stuff. So you have the bond challenges and the stage challenge up here as well. So this is actually pretty neat, and it's a way to really help pass time. So a lot of times in these games, Wuthering Waves and whatnot, you know, these games are like, you get to this point where, of course, you know, your characters level up, and then you're kind of just like waiting for the next patch, right? So having stuff like this where it's actually interesting, it's not just like, it doesn't just feel entirely just like a load of baloney, you know, actually feels fun that you can go through, but it takes a little bit of time. But it's a fun experience to have. You know, you're just like I said, it's like an old school RPG going across a board map, and then, you know, attacking people and or whatever. Maybe like You know, maybe like the what was it, Advance Wars. I don't know if y'all ever played Advance Wars back in like Game Boy Advance or something like that. I think they came out with a more recent one too, but I think that was a pretty popular game as well. But it makes you feel like that, and so it's a pretty enjoyable experience. And the stories are pretty interesting as well, and how they interact. Abby's involved in the story as well as Rover, of course. And each character kind of plays a different type of role because it is like a dream as well. So these characters exist, but they exist in different variants of themselves, which makes it pretty neat and pretty fun. But I just wanted to touch on this because it's so rich in here with all the stuff that you can get here. You see how far that list goes down. There's so many different things that you can get here. Like I said, you know, there's different endings for these things that each ones will have. You're unlocking all sorts of things. So it really shows that when they when they thought of this mode, there are people there who are definitely fans of film, because the way that this was implemented, the way this looks, the way it was designed, the way the stories unfold, you can very much tell that there's someone in there who is like a Hideo Kojima, like not literally, but someone who is a big fan of film. And this is very evident in how they showcase this event. So I thought this is pretty neat. So you'll go through this stuff, you'll uncover these stories. At the end of the story, you'll end up in the theater, or so it was on this first one. I haven't done the second one yet. But you end up in the theater, and the girl that you saw when you first walked in is suddenly sitting next to you. And so she's like, well, hope you enjoyed it. I guess I'll see you in the next theater. And so there's a mystery here as well to be uncovered, which I imagine will be fully unveiled once you finish all of them. But I thought this would be interesting to go over, like I said, and I wanted to showcase that to y'all. And I want to know how y'all feel about this dreaming deep permanent mode that we now have within the game. Is this exciting for you? Is this exciting for you? That's the question. How much are y'all enjoying it? How y'all feel about it? And let me know down in the comments below, because I'm really curious to know how y'all feel about this mode, if y'all enjoy it or not. I think, like I said, Kuro Games has really been spectacular in this first year. They really have. Like, there's been one questionable really miss there, was how they implemented the QB Derby. It wasn't the QB Derby itself, but it was how they implemented it with the time restrictions. That's like my biggest pet peeve so far with them this year. But other than that, I think they've been pretty much lights out. And this event, even though with it being so weird and unique in itself, at first you start out in it and, you know, kind of feel sluggish because it's kind of laying out how things are supposed to happen, right? Like, it's laying out what this does and what this does and what this does. But then after that, you know, you're able to just kind of just go through it, because you know what everything does. So you're able to just go through it freely. And then that's when it starts to really become enjoyable as you start to progress. And you get these buffs and you're able to mix and match teams. You're able to recruit these characters, and just like a standard RPG, you're able to recruit characters and bring them onto your party. And then now you form these extra bonds. You can go to these different bonds, level up these different bonds. There's a whole level up mechanic there within here with these node systems that can enhance your buffs within these stories, which is pretty darn neat. So I'm very curious to know what y'all think about this. So be sure to comment down below. Let me know all about how you feel. If you're actually reading the stories, I know some of y'all cannot be bothered to read anything. Just like how you probably cannot be bothered to reach this point of the video where I'm saying this, so you'll never know that I said this. If I see your comment down below, and it's very obvious that you didn't reach this point of the video, then so I know some of y'all just cannot do that. You know, so we live in this day and age now where it's like, if it's longer than 2 seconds, if it's 2 sentences or longer, you know, then I just can't be bothered with. You know, it's like, well, it is what it is. But at any rate, y'all, be sure to like, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this down below. And I will see y'all on the next one. Look forward to all the new stuff coming up and the new videos coming up, guys, and whatnot. All the likes are right around the corner for us. It's going to be a great year of Wuthering Waves. See you on the next one. Much love. Spike content.